dreams and nightmares bite you. All kinds of ones where we're living together in the same house again. I'm like, where's David? Of course, I've had like upsetting dreams since I left Kody, but sometimes I still dream that I'm with him. It's hard. It's not anything I don't want to relive the past. People are like, would you do it all over again? I'm like, not going to answer that question because I just move on. This is a dream catcher. I bought this in Flagstaff, so it's two-part. One is to leave Flagstaff behind because I still have trauma over Flagstaff. I admit it.
Hi friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I just figured something out, and I figured out why this happened the way it did. And it has to do with Janelle giving money to Kody and Robyn for their house. And I never understood why they did this, or Mary. And now I think I have a pretty good understanding of why. And I think I've found the reason of how Kody was able to avoid the gift letter per se related to the sale of Janelle's home. Because if Kody is on a bank account, a joint account with Janelle, she admitted that in a video I showed you yesterday. If she sold her home in Las Vegas, okay, and if she sold the home and the proceeds of the sale went into her bank account, those proceeds of the sale of that home go into a joint bank account with Kody and Janelle. When you're a joint owner of a bank account, it means either one of you can transfer money in and out. And in a recent episode, Christine said that when Janelle, sold her home in Las Vegas, Janelle put the proceeds of the home into Robyn and Kody's house. And I always wanted to know how they got around this without it looking like a loan or a gift letter. Well, now I think I understand. It's because Kody had a bank account with her, and he might have transferred the money out of Janelle's joint account into the family account. And if he had his name on all these accounts, he would be able to get around and use these different loopholes to avoid accountability. But I always wanted to know, why would she allow that? Like, it's not his money. He was never on the title with Janelle's house, ever. She had her own mortgage and she qualified for the home by herself. She made all of her own payments. So technically speaking, when she sold that home, nobody legally other than her was entitled to that money. If she had a joint account with Kody, she's silly, but I guess we're learning more and more about how Janelle was really naive or else ignorant or just too trusting. I don't know. But I think it has to do with capital gains. I think that's why they're doing this. I think it has to do with taxes. And that's why I keep wondering, where is the IRS? Why are they not auditing Kody? If you went into Kody's bank taxes, I bet you could find so much money laundering and money like hiding and like tax dodging if you looked at all of his tax records between all the women and how he was using all of the women to like move money around to avoid and reduce his own tax liability. But we'll get there in a second. I want to just show you this clip.
2 decades. It was a combined pot of money, and we just took care of whoever needed to be taken care of. It really took me a long time to get out of that mindset. And I really thought that by putting my resources towards Robyn's house, that eventually the time would come around, it would be our turn, my turn, Christine's turn, Mary's turn, whatever. But that never really happened. Janelle, when she sold her home in Vegas, the proceeds from the sale of that went into Robyn's home.
So Janelle's house sold in 2019. It was like the spring. And you have so many days, months to transfer money that you get from the home, the sale of a home, into another property. And if you have owned the home for more than 2 years and lived in it for more than 2 years and you transfer it into another property, you can avoid property gains tax. Property gains is just the tax that you pay that's on the sale of a property. So it's because you've made an investment. So it would be the difference between what you paid for the home and then what you get out of it. So if you make $300,000 on the sale of a home, then you have taxes that you pay on that percentage to the federal government because it's considered an income. because it's like an income from an investment. Capital gains taxes are pretty high. And so a lot of people will just reinvest their money from when they sell one property, it goes into another property. So when Janelle sold her home, she was renting. And then when Robyn sold her home, she was renting. And that was around the same time that Kody and Robyn's house that they had in Flagstaff, the rental agreement was up and they needed to find a new place to live. And that's when Kody decided they needed to buy. I have always maintained that they bought Robyn's house, at least on Kody's side, for Robyn to avoid capital gains. So once her home sold, he wanted to get her into another house so that they didn't have to pay the taxes on the gains she made on her sale. But this, if Janelle wasn't going to buy, the equity she made would have been subject to capital gains. So Kody could have just said, well, hey, I'll put the money into this house and then we don't have to pay property gains or capital gains on that. We avoid the taxes and we'll get you back. Get you back. Look at this as an investment. And that's how they sold it to her. They sold it to her as an investment. They said that they had no intention to live there. They were going to build out on Coyote Pass, and that when they got to a point where they could build, they were going to rent out Robyn's house and the home would become a property investment where they would be like a vacation rental. Well, that didn't happen. We all know that. Janelle never bought a house and they never built on the land. So Janelle believed that they were going to get back to her, but they didn't.
They went into Robyn's home. Why? I don't know what they're getting out of it. They don't know how much they're going to get out of the property still. Dealing anything in finances with him is just terrible.
It catch on too late that all of a sudden there was a change in thought that resources weren't for the benefit of the whole family. It seems to be a very big hot button for Kody and Robyn. And they're always trying to revise history about how things were paid or what was paid.
You know, it's wild, and I feel so bad because they're from a cult, and the men in the cult take all the money, and the women are so brainwashed, and they believe they're submitting to their husband, who's the priesthood. They're told that these men are good, godly men, that they would never, do anything bad. The women are not treated equally because the women that are not the legal wives are the concubines, and their only job for the king, which is Kody, is to bring babies. The guys that continue to have relationships outside of procreation with the women, I would imagine is pretty rare in polygamy. They aren't around very much. Some of the men probably try, but from more often than not, of most of the families that I've spoken to, there's almost always a favorite wife in every family. It can change depending on the day and who's getting along better with who. But I think it's a natural for anyone to want to settle, especially as you get older. I don't think it's natural for a man to have to bounce around all over the place to go to different places. I think the only way for a man this kind of situation would work is if he's in one home and he can always sleep in his own bed. But if you're constantly on the move and you're never settling, that's not an easy life for a guy. And the guys that are doing this, other than Kody, are doing this for their religion. And that's just, ugh. So having a favorite isn't, I guess, abnormal because everyone wants to be at their home and have one place, right? And that doesn't excuse what Kody and Robyn have done. But he very much picked his favorite wife. And then instead of continuing on with polygamy, I think he would have just been fine doing it the way that he had been doing it because all of his friends do this too. He has so many friends that have wives that they don't even see. They have wives that live in other states. There's women that live in different cities that they don't see unless they're getting the woman pregnant. The dads in these situations are very rarely around. The women give them their money. They only are there to make kids. And so for Janelle, she's not the favorite wife. She's given him 6 kids. Her kids are disobedient. So why would Kody care about Janelle? He's punishing Janelle for the disobedience of her kids. He's punishing Janelle for being disobedient to him and not going and doing what he wants. And what blows my mind in all of this is if Janelle could see this all happening, she saw it way back in Vegas, why she didn't just say, I'm going to have my own separate bank account, Kody, and we're good. And we can still do a joint account for the family, but I want you off my account. We'll just do separate accounts. That's what I would have done. But I don't know what her belief was around that. But she says she catches on too late. Kody rewrites history. Of course, Kody and Robyn are going to rewrite history. Do you think they're going to admit that we scammed you? But Robyn gets really offended. Check this out.
This is a tough conversation for me because I'm just like, wait a minute, we worked together for so long and I helped so much these earlier years. Like for me, it's like, hey, feels balanced.
I tried to help Janelle buy a house, and she got mad at me. She wanted that RV lifestyle, I guess. Now that everybody's broken up, they want to say, I didn't get something or I gave something, but you didn't. We were just making sure everybody was taken care of.
There's a different producer on the show this year, and that's because Tim Gibbons left. So the original producer ran away because the show blew up and all of the family members split. And Tim's point of view when he brought this whole thing together was that his goal was to show that polygamy worked. And now that it proves it doesn't, he's running away with his tail between his legs. And instead of the original show creator being the end of the show, he walked away. He walked away from the business. He removed himself from Puddle Monkey, and his business partner, Chris Poole, took over. And the questions that are asked this year, I feel like are a little bit more pointed. Tim was a lot more sensitive to Kody, and I think Kody was able to manipulate Tim better. And it's obvious to me that Kody gets agitated when he's asked questions about the money and doesn't like to be put in his place about the ripping off. Because I'm sure they're being asked about these allegations. Because if you're ethical, and I'm not saying any of these producers are, but if you're an ethical person and you have people that are sitting there telling you that these people are stealing, the logical producer would then, if you're putting together a documentary, would want to have the ability to have that person respond to those claims. And Cody's response and Robyn's response after being confronted about stealing is Robyn says, I think it's fair because I contributed so much, which is hysterical. Hysterical. Robyn came into the family. I'll just give you, if you want the TLDR and you're new here, Robyn came into the family. She had over $35,000 worth of debt. She had 3 kids and she was unemployed. The family absorbed her debt. In order to qualify for the homes that they bought in Vegas, they had to work with a credit specialist because her credit was terrible. And she had multiple lawsuits out against her for charge-offs and for judgments for non-payment on credit cards. Janelle was frustrated way back then because she was like, Robyn isn't working. She's not contributing. Robyn never held a job outside of Sister Wives. To be fair, people love to say that Robyn didn't work. Every woman on the show worked. This is their job. Sister Wives is their job. Some of them had to work outside of Sister Wives because Kody wasn't distributing the money. Robyn never had to have employment. She had My Sister Wives closet, but Kody decided to stop investing in it. And he admitted that he stopped investing in it because it wasn't making money. And so Robyn doesn't have another job. He's never allowed her to have another job after My Sister Wives closet went kaput. She doesn't sell anything for MLM. She doesn't have any direct sales. She doesn't have another job. She has no social media presence. She's not on Instagram. She sometimes posts on Pinterest, but she's reclusive. And I think that's by design because that's how Kody wants it, because he's very controlling. So she didn't contribute other than being on the show. She brought her kids and she brought herself and she contributed, but she did not contribute more than anyone else. And for her to say it's fair is laughable because we all know now that they were getting art. Kody was getting art for her. Kody was getting rings for her. The woman on one hand has a diamond ring that's probably got 2 carats on it. And on the other hand is wearing a $5,000 gold ring that's made by David Yurman. I know that she has a Rolex watch that she wears. All of her jewelry is usually Tiffany's, her earrings and her necklaces. Her house is packed to the brim of art with statues, with geodes, her home, all of this. So for Robyn to say she thinks it's fair, how? How, Robyn? How is it fair? Please explain to me, Robyn. Janelle does not have a $5,000 David Yurman ring. Janelle doesn't have a diamond wedding ring or engagement ring. Janelle doesn't have a house filled with art. Janelle doesn't have a home that she owns. Janelle doesn't have a Rolex. She doesn't wear really expensive jewelry. Robyn, how is it fair? Please explain. This is where I wish the producers would push back and say, can you explain to me how it's fair? Because they're allowed to just say this bull crap and everyone knows they're not fair. And then when they're confronted with it, they're allowed to lie. And then they're also giving Kody this redemption arc, trying to make him look like a good dad because he's going to help baptize Aurora. And the whole Aurora thing with the baptism is so weird to me and so gross. And like how she always cries when she's around Kody creeps me out. It's like she's got a trauma bond to him, I think, because Robyn ripped away her biological father and made her actually get Kody as a father. But like, I don't think the producers realize how nasty it looks to see Kody and Robyn living this affluent lifestyle. And then you have these other women scrambling to figure out how they're going to do life. And then the production knows that the fight is over the money. And then they're not allowed to say that we're actually fighting over the income of the show. We're fighting over the assets and the business money of the show. They're not allowed to say that. So they have to call it their family account. They're not allowed to say that they're buying Coyote Pass for business purposes. So it's a storyline. They're not allowed to say that they're fighting over the end of a business and the end of the show money. It's like, I don't know how these producers can sleep at night helping Kody rip off these women. If I were on this crew, I would quit. I couldn't. There would be no amount of money you could pay me to help Kody rip off these women. It's so gross. So Robyn lies about everything being fair. Kody lies that he hasn't ripped anyone off, and Kody will never acknowledge that he owes anyone money because in Kody's eyes and mind, he owes no one anything. And Christine has trauma. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.